Good morning, everyone. You are back in the kitchen with the Barlow Queen, and I am making biscuits and gravy today. So I've got pretty much everything laid out that I'm going to need. So like I told you in the last video, I don't want to keep y'all forever, so I'm trying to prep as much as I can before we start. But I was up late, so if you guys watched the intro video and saw the date with the book thing, the blind date with the book from Not the Ordinary, I was up reading that. I'm on chapter 5 now. But anyway, it's actually a really good book. Oh, and there is Mr. HT's EDC. He's on bacon and eggs.
Using pocket knife, by the way.
Using his pocket knife. So for my biscuits, we're going to do the biscuits first, and then we're going to start with the sausage gravy. So I have 4 cups of self-rising flour already in the bowl. And I've got 2 sticks of butter that I set out last night, so they're very soft and room temp to put in my biscuits. Move your bottom, love. And so I've got one of those pastry cutters over here. So you can use 2 knives. I use 2 knives forever and I liked it, but this is a little bit easier, especially since my, maneuvering hands ain't gonna be great. So you just cut the butter into the self-rising flour. And I probably will get 12 biscuits out of this, depending on how big I make them. So if you don't need that many biscuits, you can cut it in half and just do 2 cups of self-rising flour and 1 stick of butter. So we shall see. But I do have my oven preheating at 425 already. Yeah, my butter's really soft. It's wanting to stick to my cutter and not go through my flour. But we've got some friends coming over for breakfast, so 7:45 came really early. But that's my fault because I shouldn't have been reading. I told y'all I was a nerd. So anyway, I'm just getting this butter cut into my self-rising flour. And these are super simple, super simple biscuits, but they're amazing. And so anytime we go on vacation with our friends, like if we go rent a house somewhere in Hot Springs, or we've been to Sevierville, we've been to the Gulfport, Orange Beach, we've got 2 sets of friends that we do pretty much everything with because we don't have any family in Arkansas. So anyway, anytime we go and do something, I'm on breakfast duty because they want my biscuits and gravy. And it's funny because I don't eat sausage. It's nothing about religion or anything. I just don't like sausage. So if I was making a gravy for my biscuits, I would make a bacon gravy. But who wants to make that much for one person? I ain't doing it. Alright, now I'm fixing to show you my cut in butter. Let me get it out of here. Try and get as much of that butter out as I can, whatever's left. So I just kind of scrape my scraper with a butter knife. So I got pretty much all of it out. Put that straight into the sink. So, see how it's all kind of crumbly? All that butter that's in there? So I just cut it in. So that's all that I have in the bowl. It's the 4 cups of self-rising flour and 2 sticks of butter. Alright, so you got ice cold buttermilk. I've got a pint or a quart, but it only takes a pint, so I'm having to measure it out. Let's see. And if you're like me and you buy buttermilk just for making biscuits, if you don't have anything to do with it, you can freeze it and then thaw it out when you need some more buttermilk. Or you can make a cake, or you can make homemade ranch dressing. That's what I like to do, make homemade buttermilk dressing and then put it over baked potatoes, but that's just me. I do have a wonderful ranch dressing recipe, so I'll make that with you sometime. I'm just gonna pour some of this buttermilk in. I'm not gonna pour it all in at first. So about half. I've got a spoon. We're gonna see how good I can mix it with just this hand. But that's all we're doing. See how simple that is? So we're just whoop, mixing it in. I just about slipped it over the side. Now when you get finished, your batter is going to look wet. I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be a wet, cold, wet batter. And I just carry things to the sink when I get done. It's just a habit. My husband usually is the dish fairy, so I don't have to worry about washing it. I just get it to the sink. Alright, I'm trying to make sure I've got it all wet, so just give me a minute. This is harder than it looks with really one hand that can stir. And you can go in with your fingers and do this like you see older people on, you know, grandma go in there with your hands. My granny, we made biscuits with our hands, but I didn't want to have to take my glove off and then have to worry about getting all this flour off my hands. Okay, so I think we're good here. I'm going to show it to you and you can kind of see how wet it is. See, it's kind of wet, not like a dry biscuit dough. And so what we're going to do is I make my biscuits in a glass dish. So I've got a 9 by 13 glass dish that I take the sides and wipe down with butter. So I have butter on my counter all the time in a little crock. So I just spread it over it, and you don't do anything else, just put the butter on it. And I'm telling you, it really helps brown the edges and make it a little bit, I guess crispy is a good word for the side of a biscuit. Now let me, let's see. I am going to spray a little bit of cooking spray on my hand and take my wedding ring off. Just so I don't, hopefully, have a hard time getting these to release. But I have some extra self-rising flour in this little, I call it a dip bowl, but I put extra self-rising flour in there, and so when I put my biscuits in my hand, then I just drop, because I'm telling you it's wet, so you will understand when you actually make these. And so you just roll your biscuit dough around and get flour on the outside and just kind of form it into a ball, and then I just press it down in the pan. I just press the top down just a little bit in the pan. When I get farther along, I'll show you. But I'm not really making any rhyme or reason to my size. Like I said, if I had two hands, it would be a lot more fancy because I'd roll them into a pretty ball. But this one, we just doing what we can. But don't forget to have this little, whatever you want to use as your flour bowl, do not forget to have that flour bowl. It is really needed to put your dough in it. Okay, I've got 3 made so far. I'm gonna pause you, and then when I get done, I'll bring you back on, so hold on. All right, everybody, I have gotten 14. That's what they look like. So I don't brush the tops. I've got them going in my oven right here, so you're not going to be able to see that part. But let me get these in the oven. And they take 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer on the microwave. We'll check them at 15, but obviously if you smell them first, you'll kind of know how they're doing. So I'm going to move to the gravy. So I've got my cast iron pan, and I've got a pound. Let me see if I can move you closer. A pound of sausage. Y'all know I'm new to this, so we just gonna see what we can. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, so I'm gonna use this handy dandy. I don't really know if I like them, but I'll use it. All right, so we're turning the gas on. We're gonna start cooking the sausage. I have no idea how long that's gonna take, but we're moving on. And this is just one of those country mild sausages from Jimmy Dean. My husband loves hot sausage, but I told him for breakfast, no, I'm not doing that when I got company coming. And number 2, it ain't all about him. That's what I say. And he ain't in here, so I can say that. So we'll get that going. And basically, I'm sure you know how to make, well, most people know how to make sausage gravy. But I'm going to tell you my sausage gravy secret. And before y'all say I smoke crack, try it before you knock it. Everybody that's had my sausage gravy loves it. The only thing I do different than most people is I add in beef bouillon cubes. Like I said, don't knock it till you try it. I don't know why. It's beef and this is sausage, pork, I don't know, but it intensifies the flavor and it is so good. And I can tell you because I taste the gravy part, I just don't eat the sausage part. But that is a secret. Nobody I know does that except me. And that's why everybody wants my sausage gravy. So now everybody's going to want your sausage gravy. So I guess you really need to think about that. Do you want to be having to make it for people, or do you want to keep it your secret? I'm going to leave that up to you. We're starting to sizzle. I think HTZDC went outside to get the Blackstone going. I don't know if I'll use this again. I'm not really a fan of it, but I thought, well, maybe it'll be helpful. They're just weird. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit on my gas stove. I had one of the comments said his and her stoves, but I don't have his and her stoves. I just have one stove that's a cooktop and an oven that's gas, and then I have a wall oven that's electric. Because I'm one of those people, I have to have 2 ovens. So this way I've got one that if the power goes out, I can still cook. But my granny, I'm going to try not to cry on camera, but my granny Foy, she had gas a gas stove and a gas oven, and just being at her house and smelling the gas and cooking breakfast and just all that nostalgia, that's my childhood. And I remember that she lived in Florida, and they had a hurricane come through, and everybody was out of power but her, so she could cook and had hot running water and everything. So I was like, you know, that's pretty smart. So we've got a hot water heater that runs off of gas, and this is gas. So if we lose power, at least I can cook and take a bath. Alright, now our sausage is starting to cook. I just didn't have it turned up high enough. Alright, I'm going to keep on cooking this. And then when I get ready to move on, I'll come back to you. So hold on. Alright guys, I am back. I feel like I'm giving y'all my secrets today. So when I make sausage gravy, there does not seem to be a lot of grease left from the sausage. So I improvise. I put a tablespoon of bacon grease in with my sausage. Listen, bacon grease and butter, you can't go wrong. So that way I've got some more oil to make my gravy. So my sausage looks really good. It's all chipped up. So what I'm going to do is those bouillon cubes I told you about, I'm going to drop some in. I'm dropping them in whole while my grease is cooking, finishing up my sausage. And you can put as much in it as you want. And since y'all probably have never done it or heard of it, put some in there. Just try a little bit. And then if you're like, oh, I really like that flavor, let me do a little bit more and just kind of get it to your liking. Because like I said, everybody's different. But I'm telling you, this will change your sausage gravy world. I'm telling you. So once the bouillon cubes cook a little bit in here, I just kind of smush them down because it makes them very soft, and so they're not actually huge chunks. You just push them down to it. Excuse me. I inhaled something. Hold on. Okay. But I just squish them down to where they just kind of turn back to powder. Sorry guys, I don't know what got me. But, what is that? Dr. Pepper Zero to the rescue, because that was the easiest thing for me to grab. So I measured out 1/3 of a cup of flour. I don't know if I'm going to need more, but I figure that's a start. Because I want to get as much of that great juice from the sausage and the bacon. I just feel like people put too much flour in theirs, and so there's no sausage flavor left. But I have got mine looking pretty good. And I wish I could lift my pan up so you can see. Let me see if I can tilt it. Hold on a second. Let's see. I know this is unprofessional. Let's see. There. If I can get that to stay. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit. My biscuits are not done. So I'm gonna put on that. It says 15 to 20 minutes, and that was 15. So I'm turning on 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna get some flour. So I might need a little bit more flour. Let's try that. And I do not put any salt, because if you use the bouillon cubes, the salt is already in there. Man, I'm sorry I didn't think to do that sooner. I'm learning, I'm new at this, but I didn't realize I could have put that down. But bear with me, because I'm learning something every day. So I think that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to just put some pepper, no salt. And then I'm going to adding in my milk. Uh-oh. Hush. So my friend's here.
Hey, it's me.
My dog's going crazy.
It is me. It is me.
Oh.
Hi. Okay, so I've got the flour going, so my stuff, as you can see, is getting pretty thick.
You have a,
You're on video.
What you need? What you need?
I'm sorry,
No, what you need?
I was needing like a cup for the coffee.
Okay. Let's see. That's looking better and better. You want to come get, well,
Yep.
I made coffee. I just hadn't got finished my coffee, so just move my coffee to the side. You're welcome. See, if I'd have had my coffee, I wouldn't have got choked up a minute ago. But anyway, see how my gravy's going now? So the more it sits, the more it'll thicken. So then I'll kind of see how much milk I need. I've got 2 minutes left on the biscuits, so we shall see. I don't want thin gravy, but I don't want no 40 weight gravy either. So we want about, I guess, a 20 weight. We want in the middle. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna just taste the back of this and just, we're gonna see where we're at. Okay. I will taste that on air because that is really good. And I have to taste as I go. So I'm gonna put a little bit more milk just to thin it out, because it's gonna keep thickening and thickening, and I'm gonna turn my heat down. So should be done when my biscuits are done. My time clock's saying another minute, but we'll see. And I'm one of those people, I like golden brown biscuits, so I generally cook my biscuits a little bit longer than the recipes say. But that's just my preference. So I guess this is proof that you don't have to eat sausage to know how to cook sausage gravy. Okay, so this is perfect, actually, this consistency. See how it still coats the spoon there, or the spatula? But it's gonna sit here a little bit longer, waiting on the biscuits and for Harold to pull off the eggs and bacon. So I'm probably gonna put a little bit more milk in it, just so, by the time we go to eat it, it's good. Hold on, my timer's going off for my biscuits. Okay, so they're just now starting to brown, so I am going to give them a couple more minutes. I'm going to put a little bit more milk. And I generally keep bacon grease on hand. Every time I cook bacon, I keep it in a canning jar in the refrigerator. But Harold's been cooking bacon on the Blackstone, so I don't obviously get bacon grease. So if you guys ever need bacon grease, this is great. It's just bacon grease, already packaged in a container. All right, what do you think? Not too thick, not too thin. Go ahead and turn my burner all the way off. So I say gravy, done. Like I say, I have a fear of 40 weight gravy. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. Just to make me not have to worry about it. Because I don't know where he is. And then so by the time we eat. So as soon as these biscuits come out, I will be done in the kitchen. Okay. Let's see. If it's going to take too much longer, I'll pause it and come back to you guys. But they are browning. Should not take but a couple more minutes. I would show you a knife I'm going to carry today, but I don't have one in here, and I'd have to go get one just to put it in my pocket. I will have a knife in my pocket today, I just don't have one in yet. It's too early in the morning for me to have a knife in my pocket. All right, let me look at these biscuits. I think they're done. Kind of golden brown. I'm going to cut one open. Or I guess slice it in half would be more like it. Let's see. Let me take this one in the middle. Well, I can use this one. Yeah, they're done. And you can put butter on them here. I don't because they're fixing to douse it in gravy. And I'll probably put jelly on mine because that's just me. So, I think this is it. This is my contribution. Harold will bring his contribution in and we'll say blessing and have some wonderful food. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this wasn't too long. It says we're at, oh my gosh, we're at almost 30 minutes. But at least I walked you through a whole breakfast. So thank you again. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back, watch another one, and I'll see you later. Bye.